The last anga is called as Samadhi. The last but most important is Samadhi. Unless you attain Samadhi, unless you experience Samadhi, the cycle of incarnations will keep on continuing. What is Samadhi? Samadhi, Sama means equalization. Equalization of what? Dhi means, as Ramanjit ji told, Dhrithi means that which holds. We have to hold all the bits and pieces of what you think you are and move on to what you really are. What you really are, basically, primarily, fundamentally, is absolute silence. That is the nature of consciousness. It is not like my consciousness or your consciousness or my pet's consciousness. It is a consciousness per se. The nature of the consciousness is always deep silence. And dharana, dhyana, samadhi, these three are one and the same, yet different in terms of only in degree and depth. In pratyahara, we take the senses within. In dharana, we sustain the awareness and attention. And even more attention happens in dhyana state, the meditative consciousness. And everything, the perceived, one who perceives and the process of perception becomes one in the state of samadhi. This equalization of these three, Holy Trinity, the object, the subject, and the process of the bridging factor, everything becomes one. The process of becoming one, the samadhi state, sama state, equalization state, is called as samadhi. As per the perspective of Patanjali, what he says is, Tadeva arthamatra nirbhasam, Tadeva arthamatra nirbhasam, Swarupa shunyam iti samadhi. Swarupa shunyam iti samadhi. Artha means the object, the pratyaya. Matra nirbhasam. Once your attention is on the object, nirbhasam, the shining, illumination starts. With the illumination, the swarupa, all the forms become empty. And this is what is called samadhi. Samadhi is a very deep state of consciousness. And whatever that we speak on samadhi will be futile, can never be total. It is just like defining hunger. Can you define hunger? You can only experience it. You can only say that I have hunger. Samadhi state is also like that. It is ineffable, avyakta, agrahya, achintya. We can't describe. Whatever definitions and descriptions we talk of samadhi can never be total. But still, for the sake of convenience, for the sake of expression through language, we are taking it as an opportunity to speak on samadhi for a few minutes, when it is actually ineffable, avyakta, difficult to define. Intellectual understanding or conceptual understanding of these states of consciousness can never be possible. A thorough experience and understanding alone is the real solution to understand this. There is a reason why Patanjali says, Swarupya Shunyam, the forms that which you think you have, the mental impressions that you have, the samskaras that you are holding, need to be annihilated to experience samadhi. Whatsoever wisps of clouds that are coming through states of consciousness during dhyana also need to be eliminated totally. So much so that emptiness alone remains, nothing else remains. When you are in the state of samadhi, you are not even aware that you have attained samadhi. You don't get even a thought that you are in a state of samadhi. a complete alochana rahita sthiti, vichara rahita sthiti, thoughtless consciousness. And this nothingness is real everythingness, where the real union between the individual consciousness and the cosmic consciousness begins. It is the beginning and also the end. The duality of beginning and end also ceases. It is a beginning and its end. It is a culmination. Though it appears as beginning, it is culmination as well. The laya, not only srishti, the laya also happens. The sthiti where the srishti and laya merges into one is called as samadhi. And Patanjali makes difference in states of samadhi. Sampragnata samadhi, he says, or sabija samadhi, savikalpa samadhi, all are same. And he calls something which is beyond, where even the reflection and contemplation of the samadhi state of consciousness will not be existing. And this is called as nirbija samadhi, the seedless consciousness, where there will not be any attention whatsoever regarding anything. Let us understand the state of savikalpa samadhi or sampragna samadhi. In savikalpa or sampragna samadhi, there will still be elements of reflection or contemplation. And in the language of Patanjali, he says, vitarka, vichara, ananda, asmita, anagama. That is called as sampragnata samadhi. Vitarka means logic. Vichara, reasoning. Ananda, bliss. Asmita, I am consciousness, that type of feeling. Anugama, in association with everything else. All these types of reflections are possible in the sampragnata samadhi or savikalpa samadhi or sabija samadhi. When you move ahead, where all this vichara, vitarka, anugama and other elements, asmita, ananda exist, if you go beyond these five elements, we get into something called as the nirbija samadhi, where the external senses that are moved already within through the pratyahara turn into activation of inner senses. In the samadhi state, all the inner senses get opened up. Tatah pratibha, thus awakens shravana, the hearing, vedana, the tactile sensation, adarsha, the vision, aswada, the tongue, varta, the nose, jayante, emerges. So all the inner senses of shravana, vedana, varta, aswada, everything emerges. The conglomeration of all the inner senses is called as the third eye. Third eye is not just an element which sees. Third eye is amalgam or conglomeration of all the collective inner senses. So when you go into nirbija samadhi, the kutastha opens, the third eye opens, and you become one with the whole. And becoming whole, becoming total, becoming complete, without any element of reflection and contemplation is called as the real nirbija samadhi. And this has to be experienced. And there is no conceptual understanding herewith. There are no postulates here. Though Patanjali has made many postulates, many sutras, but for real understanding, it has to be experienced. After so much of experience, Patanjali could make it into single line. Vitarka, vichara, like this. Simple line, one line. In this one line, the whole world is put in. The whole world is there in these few lines. That is called the Sutras, the Sutras of Patanjali. So understanding a sutra is most difficult unless you experience it. If you experience it, the sutra opens. And he has made so many sutras so that you make a garland of it. Sutra means thread. the thread which connects so many flowers in the garland. So catch hold of the sutra, you catch hold of the entire garland. The whole garland will be yours. And this garland is worn onto you once you attain, experience the nirbhija samadhi, the seedless samadhi, which the Jain people called as hara consciousness, the same nirbhija consciousness, buddhatva in terms of Buddha, Krishna consciousness as per the language of Krishna, Sri Krishna, moksha, kaivalya, whatever you call it, Christhood in terms of Jesus Christ, whatever you call it, the state of consciousness is the real nirbhija consciousness, nirbhija samadhi, which we all need to experience. And for that, we have taken the physical body. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Really wonderful to know about Samadhi. There is a lot of depth understood and definitely useful. And any more questions before we conclude? Sir, one question about the practice of going into the Samadhi. So how much a seeker should practice daily? Can you give some tips on this?
All the calculations, analysis, assessments will be totally futile. The linear approaches in terms of goal setting, in terms of making a markers, in terms of having milestones in the journey, in terms of planning, in terms of strategy and execution, the way we do in the linear world, the social world, cannot hold true. It cannot be really good in the internal world. The Antaranga affairs is totally different. The calculations and assessments and analysis stay good only in the social world, the visible world, the three-dimensional world. When it comes to inner world, the Samadhi state is internal world, belongs to the deeper aspects of internal world. All these linear approaches, whatsoever that you have in your mind, cannot help. The reason why you should start with pratyahara. There is no time frame. Pratyahara means take the senses within. All the external inputs need to be withdrawn. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Open the inner senses. So there is no time frame. But as long as you do diligently, as long as you do meticulously, regularly with Shraddha, with the Diksha, everything happens in the most unexpected way, at the most unexpected moment. As long as we expect, it can never happen. Forget about the result. Phalatyaga. Phalatyaga means sacrifice the result. Once you sacrifice the result, you will get everything. As Sri Krishna taught, Afala Kamksha Birjuktai, says Sri Krishna. Afala Kamksha Birjuktai means leave the result. Get into, enjoy the practice, enjoy the journey. The reality lies in journey. The reality lies in prakriya, not in kriya. The reality lies not in kriya or pratikriya. It lies in prakriya, the process. It doesn't lie in product. The product, what is called as samadhi, is least important. It is the process that is very important. When you are on the process, the product unfolds. Samadhi is unfolding phenomena. You cannot get it. You cannot capture it if you really want. It doesn't happen. But if you enjoy the journey, the prakriya, the process, the samadhi unfolds, opens up, it blossoms. How much time it takes for a flower to blossom? It is highly individual, right? Every flower has its own way. I don't know which flower you are, whether you are a jasmine flower, or rose flower, or a rafflesia flower, who knows? There are some Brahma Kamals which open up once in 40 years, 50 years. So which Kamal you are, which Kamal I am, which Kamal someone else, how can we know? So all these time frames, analysis, assessments, calculations, all types of linear approaches cannot be really helpful in terms of the Antaranga Vidya, the spiritual Vidya, the Adhyatmic Vidya. Thank you.